we start the official speech, I said to Dr. Sanati, today, many students in different faculties, like engineering faculties or management, they can use this kind of hybrid topic to combine energy, engineering, or management together. And then he said, yes, there are some disciplines like finance or the other topic. Now I would like to ask him also a little bit explain about these points for us.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Dr. Doost Mohammadian. As you know, when you want to consider subject as a total view, you should see in which part you need some proficiency to adapt and customize the subject and the methods that they use in order to cover the requirements of the energy management using IoT. So I guess one of the big topics for the managers that will encourage them to use the Internet of Energy is some economical and financial subjects. So I guess it's a beginning, because whenever somebody wants to, or a manager wants to decide to go towards Internet of Energy and use it, it's necessary to give them, regardless of the government agencies or private companies and maybe public sectors that want to use from this concept, it's a financial subject. So I guess we have similar disciplines that should be considered. For example, the experts that are working on environmental subjects and health and, for example, safety, it's also can be affected by the Internet of Energy. So it's important to consider and define the blocks that can be building blocks of this subject, and they totally make the Internet of Energy as a whole approach, and considering all the parameters that can affect the decisions and the behaviors of the consumers and producers, and also the other sectors that are working in related subjects. So I think if we define or try to define a framework that contains all the aspects of the subject, it can encourage and it can define what kind of partners we need and how we can support different sectors to define, for example, research projects or some type of operations, modification in their operation in order to integrate all of this together to reach to a common view and common approach in all sectors toward Internet of Energy. I guess it can be useful.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Sanati, for your description. Yeah, I do agree with you. Also, according to Erasmus+, they are going to focus on developing projects. That's why when we discuss about these topics, we need to focus on developing research projects, not only fundamental research, because we want to have the application of this research in labor market, also in the industrial sector, because in most of the countries, one of the problems they have, or maybe it's better to say challenge, is the theoretical part of the university or institution is not in the same level of the practical level in the industrial sector or business sector. That's why this kind of topic, this kind of project can help us and also the university students and university professors or company managers to have approach to combine different topics like Industry 4, Society 5, Internet of Things and its applications, and also the very important topic, human resource. And this can give us an approach to look at all topics strategically and try to find solution for different kind of challenges. For example, in Germany, when I go to university to hold lecture, all the time I say to the students, listen, there are some points you always need to think. Innovation, small, medium-sized enterprises, Internet of Things, digitalization, sustainability, as you explained about, for example, environment or the other aspect of sustainability. And if you want to get success in this market, because of the very strong competition, you must have knowledge, know-how, and do-how in this field, and then you can show your abilities and strong power inside the business. Now is almost hello, Manfred. Hello.
Hello?
Hello, Manfred. I lost my access.
Yes, I lost your video too.
I can see your video.
Oh.
I think you have to reconnect to the e-learning room.
Shall I reconnect again?
But I can hear you.
Hello, Manfred.
Hello? Now I can
Hello,
hear you too. Yeah.
Can you please change my access, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, Dr. Sanati, because of interruption. That was technical problem.
Yeah, I see. But I don't have your video.
You don't slide. 1 second.
Okay, thank you. I think you have my video now.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the first description. If you do agree, now is almost 2:40 and we can start.
Yes,
Okay?
okay, yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Now we are going to start our second webinar for the Erasmus Plus project, Internet of Energy Education Qualification. Today is November 6th. Our topic is the role of energy management and IoE in Industry 4.0 and its effect on human resource competencies. Our first speaker is Dr. Farshid Roayat Sanati, and the second one is me, Hamid Doost Mohammadian. First of all, I would like to explain for you how is the plan. At first, in 2-3 minutes, I try to introduce the speakers, and also after that, I explain the contents of our speech, and then I would like to ask Dr. Sanati after that to explain his company Nilgro and his activities and expertise, and then I'm going to start to talk about energy management and IoE, and then at all we finish these things in 20 minutes. After that, Dr. Sanati is going to talk about Industry 4 and human resource competencies in 25 to 30 minutes. At the end, in 10 minutes, we are going to discuss about the question and answers. If you do agree, we can start. Okay. First of all, I'm going to introduce Dr. Sanati. He is at the moment CEO at Nilgro GmbH in Germany, in Düsseldorf, and he will explain his company in next slides. He has a PhD in Industrial Engineering, Advanced Production Systems. He has experience in different topics in a combination of management and industrial engineering, like project management, business analyst, software architect, and information security expert. Also, expertise architecture and business process modeling. He has more than 20 years experience in project management for petrochemical, automotive, and maintenance management system. He had more than 400 seminars in several companies. Also, he had more than 20 years experience for holding lecture at different universities in different levels. Second person is me, Hamid Doost Mohammadian. I'm a senior consultant at Industrial Management Institute, IMI, and also I'm a professor for Blue-Green Sustainability and Cultural Dimension. More than 200 seminars I had and speeches, workshops in several companies, events and panels. More than 20 years I had management consulting experience in the field of industrial management internationally. Also, I had experience in international project management, in sustainable mobility, energy management, and global SMEs. At the moment, I am a professor in Germany, and I have more than 10 years experience as a professor at different universities and also internationally. Besides this, I had several books and number of publications in different journals and conferences in the combination of management, engineering, energy, and sustainability. Our contents should be about introduction of the company Nilgro, energy management and IoE, Internet of Energy, production to consumption chain, Industry 4.0, a combination of advanced technologies, 6 dimensions of Industry 4.0, Industry 4.0 readiness check, synchronized development, business architecture, human resource development, the 5 rights, human resource assessment, human resource planning, strategic workforce planning, and at the end, digital transformation requires a cultural change. At the end, we are going to conclude our speech and we have a question and discussion. Okay, I would like to ask Dr. Sanati to start to explain about his company, Nilgro.
Okay, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the webinar. Okay, if you are ready, we can start with an introduction video about the Nilgro company, and then I will explain a little bit about the services that the company has and the projects that we have done in different countries. Let's please start, Manfred, if it's possible. Okay, thank you everybody for watching the video. I welcome you again to this webinar, and for a start I want to talk a little bit about the services of the Nilgro company. It's a part of the Nilgro group as a holding, and this is an engineering, supply and commissioning company which is stated in Germany, in Düsseldorf. And we have several projects in different companies in Iran, in Kazakhstan, in Turkey, Italy, and Germany, in steel industry, petrochemical companies, and also in oil and gas. That was the main part of our profession. We had some projects for preparing the infrastructure for using Industry 4.0 and going towards smart factories. So our company tried to prepare some basic infrastructures that are necessary. For example, you need to arrange your basic data in order to prepare the data that is necessary in order to provide the prerequisites of Industry 4.0. And due to these requirements, we started to have some technical consulting for the companies. In some companies, it's also a huge project. For example, we have a project in a steel industry in Iran that have more than 200,000 equipment in its process, and you can suppose that how much data is necessary and how much technical considerations should be considered in order to provide the prerequisites of Industry 4.0. I don't want to go to the detail of the technical subjects, but everybody knows that when you want to go toward the new technology and provide the conditions of new approaches, it's very difficult to consider all the limitations and the complexity that exists in the current condition of the manufacturing process and operations. For example, suppose that you want to move toward machine learning and understanding or using the new methods in your decision making and providing more valuable data for your managers. At first, you need to know what kind of technology do you have and what are the limitations of current situation. When you go, especially in international level, and you want to work in different countries, you see that cultures and different level of infrastructure that is in public sector and also an image of that in the factories. You can see that it should be considered that every country has its own limitations. So in technical consulting, we will consider all the limitations, especially physically and technically, and we will help companies to bring all of this in a situation that can be used for advanced technologies such as Industry 4.0. And also we do some kind of assessment and inspection in technical sectors, and it's one of the main branch of our services. And at the same time, sometimes that companies need some type of design and development from technical point of view, and also for supplying the equipment and devices that are necessary. We do the supply and logistics, and especially the core business of our company is Industry 4.0 consulting and using of IoT in developing the operations and also the manufacturing, and in some situations in public sector that we had some experiences in Turkey and also in Italy. So we use the asset management concepts, and we advise because the main consumers of the energy are assets that are in different that are used in different sectors. It's very important to consider the concepts of asset management, which is a main part of the infrastructures that are necessary in Industry 4.0. And also, since we are talking about Internet of Energy, they are the main consumers of energy in at the end of the chain of energy management that we will see in the next part. And also we help companies to optimize the product and their distribution in a chain. So we are an engineering company that we can help different sectors to consider the special conditions of their business and their operations in order to utilize the benefits of Internet of Energy and Industry 4.0 benefits. So we will go to the main sections of the subject, and especially talking about the human resource aspect of the subject, because it can affect everything if you have all elements of the Industry 4.0, but you don't have the qualified personnel to use from the technology. It's very difficult to have it on your application. So I asked from Dr. Doost Mohammadian to start with a brief of the Internet of Energy and talking about the fundamentals of the subject, and I will come back and explain a little bit about the main subject of our webinar. Thank you, Dr.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sanati, for introducing the company Nilgro and services. Now I'm going to start to talk about energy management and relation between IoE and energy management, and then again we have Dr. Sanati to continue to talk about Industry 4 and its effect and role on HR competencies. As you know, after 1970s, during the Cold War between Soviet Union and USA, Alvin Toffler published a book called The Third Wave, and he tried to talk about 3 different waves or ages: agriculture, industrial, and post-industrial age. In his book, he tried to explain after 1917 we are in the post-industrial age or wave, and everything is going to be changed because now we have information technology. And according to his book and also the other researchers, we can say before 1970, all businesses, industries could affect on developing information technology. But after 1917, information technology could affect to develop the other business and industries, especially energy. Now we are going to talk about energy because energy, fossil energy or renewable energy still is very important points in the world for everybody. Now we have smarter networks are needed to meet the challenge of balancing the security of energy supplies with the commitment to lower carbon emissions. As we started to talk and discuss with Dr. Sanati about the environmental approach of energy, of course, environment is very important according to the sustainability approach, also according to quality of life and livability. Today, we can say the energy economy has moved from a power economy to a data and power economy, and that shows the relation between IoT and energy sector. And we call in our project this IoE. We have 2 categories for the challenges: energy challenges and energy management challenges. When we talk about energy challenges, we can say, for example, increasing the energy consumption, waste energy, human society and culture of how to use energy, and that's a part of our topic today, HR, because culture is a very important aspect of look at energy and how to use energy and how to manage energy. Completion of fossil fuels and tendency to renewable energy, environmental changes, tendency to network information system, rising the energy costs, and also the last one, technologies development. Now we are going to talk about energy management challenges. We have 3 different groups. Energy managerial challenges, the timely and reliable access and use of energy information, the integrity of communicated information, confidentiality of personal privacy and property information. The second was Second one is energy technical challenges, and the last one, business model challenges. Now I'm going to talk about the IoE and energy management relation together. Ensure an efficient building data management system, reduce energy consumption by identifying sustainable IoE or Internet of Energy, improve uptime and reliability of industrial utilities, regulatory compliance of production environment, develop awareness of water, air, gas, electric, and steam usage, or we say wages, move towards sustainable development and environmental protection, and IoE solution for new policy, waste as energy. Train people to use energy more efficiently with IoE solutions. These two last parts also is about human resource, because when we talk about training and cultural aspect of IoE for the human, it's very important to train them how to manage and use energy. IoE challenges. Here we have three different challenges for IoE: lack of knowledge, security, cost, and the last one, interest of actors. For know-how and do-how, because it's not only about the fundamental research, also it is about the practical research. How to solve them with HRD plan, or Human Resource Development Plan. Vocational training is a very good idea, but in next slide, Dr. Sanati is going to talk about the human resource planning. Applied sciences, energy saving, train people to use energy more efficiently with IoE solution, and etc. Role of education and training. Education and training is always important for us, but when we say education and training, because we want to say we have three levels of education and training: vocational training, applied sciences, and academic training. It can solve the lack of know-how and do-how for us. As I said, training vocationally, applied sciences, and academic education. That's also something like cultural synergy, because this is very important to make an infrastructure for the culture, for the human resources to understand how to use and how to manage energy with IoT technologies. And who is the actors for this, the energy management sectors? We are talking about universities or institutions, energy companies, and IT companies, and etc. That's why in our webinars, we are going to invite people from universities or from energy companies or IoT companies or combination of energy and IoT to come and discuss about their experience in this field practically. Now I would like to ask Dr. Sanati to continue the topic Internet of Energy and Industry 4 and also its effect on human resource competency. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Hamid. I want to come back to the subject and use from the descriptions of Dr. Doost Mohammadian. As you know, when we want to go toward training, an effective training requires some kind of designs before. Because when you talk about the concept, it's okay, you can use from academic training or maybe some type of fundamentals that you can explain for the employees or the managers, and they say, okay, it's good, and maybe it will bring some kind of benefits for us. But when we want to do some kind of reasoning for them that why they should go toward this subject and how they should move and what steps they need and what kind of training they need, what kind of human resource and what kind of proficiency they need in order to go toward developing this technology and apply this technology in their daily operation or in their infrastructure, you need a roadmap and a methodology in order to bring all of this together and integrate it. So I want to talk about at the beginning about the chain of the energy and how we should manage this chain. As you see in this picture that I show here, you see that it shows the chain of the energy production, energy transfer, and the transmission, and also the consumers. this is somehow the chain of the energy from production to consumption. You can consider how many devices exist in this all, from production or power generation plants to the distribution and transmission of this power to the consumption points, and also on the consumers. It can be a kind of building or some type of manufacturing process, and wherever that can use some kind of equipment that uses the energy. So we want to see how we can manage all of this chain from macro level, and also how we can go in deep to the micro level to see what are the equipments and how we can control and optimize the usage of energy in every plant that we have and every point that we consume the energy. So Dr. Doost Mohammadian talked about the actors and the people or managers or businesses that are engaged in this chain. But I want to show a little bit, and I want to introduce the methodology to develop this concept and bring it to the condition that we can use it in our daily life and also in our daily operation in every business that we are. So we should consider that in the next slide, that in the Internet of Energy, we can have the oil and gas as the main fossil elements that we use in order to generate and produce the energy directly or indirectly, and also the grids that are used in this part. And also these are the production and transmission part of the energy chain, and also centralized energy generation, that is an approach in order to optimize the power generation points, a kind of network that can be used and moved from generation to the transmission, and also renewable sources that can provide us with more healthy generation plants and lower the damage for the environment. It's also an approach, and how we should use it. We should talk about it and think about it. What's the methodology? And also retailers and distribution network that can have some waste, and or it should connect from the generation to the consumption. And at the end, the sixth part of the elements is residential or commercial and industrial consumers of the energy. So if we want to have a very, very effective approach and methodology, we should consider that we are encountering with different solutions and different conditions in each of these six parts. But at the end, at the bottom line of all of these approaches are devices that consume the energy. And using IoT and IoE, we can capture more data from these devices in order to control them. Dr. Doost Mohammadian, in its past, some slides before, talked about two parameters that was exactly and directly related to human resource competencies. But I want to tell him that explain about the earlier items that was about reliability. When we are talking about reliability, we need some type of data that should be captured from the devices, and also we need some people to analyze this data to control that the device is not going out of its standard condition and consuming more energy than the standard that is designed for. So it's very important to see at the end of all of this analysis methods and analysis points, we need some kind of competency in the human resource and some type of infrastructures and technologies that provide require data for that human. It also should be developed by some experts that they are also in the chain of human resource that we need in order to innovate, in order to develop, in order to implement, and in order to apply the Internet of Energy technology. So I want, in the next slide, I want to talk about this roadmap, and I want to show how we can understand what type of competencies we need in order to prepare people to use Internet of Energy. I read 2 months ago a report from Roland Berger company that mentioned that in the 2020 we will have more than 50 billion devices that would be connected through Internet, and they mentioned in the report that the main limitation when we want to go toward Internet of Things and Industry 4.0 is the competencies and beliefs that we need in our people in order to apply this technology in their company. And otherwise we have enough sensors, enough capturing devices, and all the technology elements that we need are ready in order to use Internet of Things and Internet of Energy. Just we need to provide the people from cultural points of view to apply this in the daily operations. So I want to continue about Industry 4.0 to see how or what are the main elements of this technology, and what are the line of professions that we need in order to go toward Industry 4.0. I mentioned to the 4 main subsections of Industry 4.0 or embedded technologies in Industry 4.0. The first one is cyber physical systems. It's a kind of physical systems that are using logical and machine learning in their operation, and they can control themselves. It means that we can have devices that are working in their standard conditions all the time, and as soon as they do have they show some abnormal behavior, we can understand and we can modify it in order to prevent the waste that may occur during the operation. So cyber physical systems that will eliminate human resource from the operation control is the main part. The second one is IoT, that we can see how effective it is and what are the benefits. The third one is cloud computing. It's an infrastructure that they need in order to balance the data capturing and data transportation in order to use or share the resources that are in the network situation, and also cognitive computing, that is using of modern and advanced meta-heuristic mathematics in order to do some forecasting and estimation about the conditions of data and finding the patterns of abnormal operations and finding it and using people to control the condition totally. So these 4 line of profession shows that it's not so simple for the people to come into detail. It's so much professional, and how we can use it in daily operations. If you want to go toward practical researches, as Dr. Doost Mohammadian mentioned, it's very important to simplify the technology in order to use it in technical or industrial conditions, or even more simple in public sector, because people cannot learn so much and they are not interested to go to new technologies so much. So we should show benefits, and we should inform them about the benefits, and also provide experts with some kind of tools that can help them to apply this technology. Fortunately, most of the famous companies such as manufacturers and technology providers such as Siemens, ABB, and other famous companies provided some kind of solutions and tools that can simplify using these tools in their daily operation. And also the infrastructures for cloud computing and for using cognitive computing and machine learning is provided through, by Microsoft and other solutioners that are famous, and provided some user-friendly tools in order to be applied by the people. But we should go to more detail to help companies see what they exactly need and how they should develop the competency of the people to reach to this point. So we need to know the exact combination of and dimensions that they should work on to get ready to use this technology. If you have a look at this picture, you can see that strategy and business model is a main part of this subject, and you need to put the advantage and the benefits of new technology in the strategy and business model of companies or public sector. If you show them that how they can use this technology as a strategy and provide them a very clear business model, they can know how they want to go. So we will talk about this subject, that how we can use from strategy and business model and how effective can be to know what exactly should be taught to the people and how we can develop the competency of our people. So strategy and business model is a subject, and also technology is another part. They are well known, for example, big data, cloud, cybersecurity, and other technologies that have their own experts. They are developing and they are introducing their abilities in the practical solutions, and in your daily life you see the benefits in the mobiles that you use and the applications that you use daily, and people are encouraging to use from these technologies. But we need another part. So finance and risk management is another part, because the main subject of the businesses is the benefits, and they are trying to do the projects that are economically approved and show the benefits to the company. So considering the risk that exists in using new technologies, and how much money they need and how it can affect their benefits, and this is the subject that should be considered in this methodology. I will clarify this subject in the next slide. I'm going to introduce just the elements in order to show what are the parts, and also services and networks are another part that we need to provide and consider this part, because these are somehow the infrastructures that we need to use this technology, and also system and process. And at the end, we should consider the employees and competencies that, as I mentioned in the Roland Berger research, they showed that the main limitation to going and using Internet of Things is, or Industry 4.0, is employees and competencies. That is a preventing element that businesses and companies try to hold on and don't move into this new technology. So in order to see how much a company or a business unit is ready to go toward this technology, we have a readiness check that these elements that we mentioned before should be considered, and to see in which level a company is. It's obvious that we cannot jump from level 1 to level 4 to level 4, for example. We need to go step by step to see. It's based on the condition of the companies. For example, we work with the oil distribution company that most of the people are at the level 1 or 2, and you cannot use from modern technologies in the operation. But in more engineering companies, we see that the people are very good experience, and we can go from level 3 to level 4 very fast. So the time that we need to go from level 1 to level 5, and in the situation, the current situation of the business that we are entering to, depends on the level that they are and how ready their people are in order to go to the higher level of readiness for using this technology. So summarizing of the explanation is that we need to adapt our people cycle with the business cycle that we have. When we want to move to the new technology, we need to prepare our people in order to cover the competencies that we need to apply, to develop and apply a technology in the company. So for this reason, we developed an architecture in our company that is used for our projects. It's somehow a know-how for our company, but I prefer to share it with you to see what is your opinion about the subject. At the top, we have we call that a business architecture that is necessary to integrate different parts. As you see, we have some colors that used to show strategic management, enterprise architecture, and human resource management parts of this architecture. And as you see, it starts with business planning to show what exactly we want from our business. And after that, we will define the corporate level strategic management part. It means that when you want to use from a concept, for example, industry of things or Internet of Energy, and also Industry 4.0, it should be engaged in your strategy. At the beginning, you need to use it, and it should show you some benefits to reach to your objective. If you don't see any benefits or any value from this technology in reaching to your objective, it means that it's not necessary to use it at the lower level. So since we see that this technology can give us lower waste or lower energy consumption, and also some benefits because of the big data that we have and better decisions that we can make. So it can be a strategic approach. And when you define this strategy in your strategic plan, you need to develop your business process. So how do you want to implement this strategy? You formulate your strategy to use this technology, but how do you want to implement it? Your people cannot understand the process. They know their daily job and the functions that they have and the functions that they should do. So when you talk about using of Internet of Energy in your strategy, you should define exactly what you want to use. For example, you want to control your assets or control the condition of your assets in order to control the consumption and reduce your costs. Or, for example, you want to balance the production of energy and consumption at the end in order to don't produce more energy to be necessary to be stored in some place and pay costs in order to store the energy. When you have this definition, you need some process that shows how do you want to implement this strategy. Define the activities and the steps that you have in order to control your your process. So when you define the business process, based on that you can define business rules, that some type of policies and the rules, logics that you need to connect the activities that will end to the some infrastructures and applications that you need in order to control and facilitate the activities. From the other side, you will design your jobs based on the business process. So when you define your business process and define the activities, you can assign the activity and task to the jobs. And based on that, you need what exactly a job want to do. When you know what exactly a job wants to do or intends to do, you can define the competencies that are necessary for that job. It means the skills, the knowledge, the abilities that you need in order to do your job in the best way. So based on these competencies that shows your future picture, you can plan your workforce, and based on that you will do human resource assessment and provide your development plan for your people. So what you do, what kind of planning that you do here is exactly extracted from your job design and from your business process and from your strategy. It means you are implementing the technology in your company. And also the compensation and talent management is another part that will cover the daily operation of your people that should be managed in order to reach to the best, to the final goal that you defined for your people. So if we want to develop the competency of people, we should consider that we need people in right shape, in right site, with right skills and right spend and right size. When you use from a technology, then you define how exactly a task in a business process wants to be implemented. You can exactly define how many work you have to do, and based on that you can define the size of the people and workforce that you need, and also the competencies that are necessary in order to do the job. So these 5 rights are the main purpose of providing your human resource development plan. And at the next step, you will consider some situations that should be considered in your company, because these are a part of human resource management. You should consider the physical ability that is necessary. When you know exactly what is content of a job, you can define the physical ability that are necessary to do the functions. And also you can define the other abilities, for example, team working, creativity, or problem solving, and other abilities that you require in order to do your functions in the best way. And also skill and knowledge are the other part. At the same time, you should adapt your personnel with their job, because the values should be adapted, and the value of the job and the value that personnel consider for themselves, they should be checked together. Because when somebody works in a job that is not compatible with his satisfied conditions, it cannot produce the highest productivity that you want. And also the qualifications that is shown here, and also work condition also can have some effects on the performance of the people. And also performance management is another part, because when people see that their performance would be evaluated and considered in the career path, they will adapt themselves with the requirements of the job. So the thing that we want to consider is that human resource planning is somehow defining our demand, the architecture that we have for our business for the future, and also the things that currently we have, the people that we have currently in our organization. And when we want to adapt people to the conditions of the every job that we have, we need to cover the gaps between these two. So it means that we can define the personal development plan to see how we can prepare our people to do this job in the future in the best quality that we need. So we can see what kind of people can cover the things that we need in the future, and what positions are empty and we should go toward training or some kind of attracting people to come and go to these situations to cover the competencies that we need for these jobs. So finally, we should consider that in workforce planning, in strategic workforce planning, we should consider that in long term, we can define a strategic workforce planning that the variation of parameters can be considered, and we should define the job family. For example, in the human resource family of jobs, what kind of competencies we need. Not going individually on every job, just defining the job family. For example, HR, financial, or finance, and maybe in maintenance job family or engineering job family. What kind of competencies we need for every job family, and we can, based on these job families, adapt our strategic workforce plan to cover the objectives that we have for the future, to apply the new technology. And also, when we come to the short term, lower than 1 year, we can individually consider every job and every person that is holding that job in our company. We can prepare our manpower planning and try to adapt the people with the requirements of the job, every job. It's a little bit difficult, and also movement is a little bit slower than the strategic workforce planning, that completely we can change the shape of the technology and usage of that in the business. And also in the middle time, we can cover the requirements with the talent management, finding some fast-growing people and maybe attracting them from academic or institutions. The top-ranked students can fastly adapt themselves with the requirements of the job, and we can attract them to their company and through to a valid talent management program to provide the required competencies and training and preparing our people to cover in the middle time the requirements of the jobs of organization. So finally, we should consider that all of this planning needs a kind of cultural change, and people, in order to be prepared to cover all of these requirements, need time to adapt themselves with the new technology. As you see, maybe 10 years ago, most of the people completely rely on their paper and the pen, but today everybody rely on his mobile, his or her mobile, and it needs a time in order for people to adapt themselves with the new technology in the digital era. So traditional mindset should be transformed to the digital mindset, and it needs some kind of cultural plan, the same as the thing that Erasmus Plus is doing. So this is the thing that I wanted to talk about, and I think exactly if you want to plan for the future, it is needed to see what exactly can Internet of Energy do for you in your business, in which part of the energy chain you are, and what kind of devices you want to cover, and prepare a picture of the future of your business and define what exactly you want to do in order to define the competencies that you need. And through this methodology, you can define exactly what kind of cultural change is necessary and what kind of training, self-training or on-job training is necessary in order to provide people with the trainings that are necessary to gain the competencies that are necessary for the future. Okay, Dr. Doost Mohammadian, if you want to have a summarize about the subject, I'm ready, and then we can go to the questions and answers.
Okay, Dr. Sanati, thank you very much for your very strong PowerPoint presentation, and thank you for your description. That was so interesting. At the end, before we go to conclusion, again, I'm showing the slide about the Nilgro GmbH company in Düsseldorf in Germany. And this company is always interested to work with the companies, universities, countries about IoE, engineering, supplying, commissioning in the field of energy and maintenance. Now we are going to conclude our speech. According to our topic, the role of energy management and IoE in Industry 4.0 and its effect on HR competencies, we discuss about energy management and also about the importance of energy after 1917. In this time, we are in Industry 4.0 and how IoT and information technologies can affect on our business, energy management, and also how training and HR planning can help us in different levels, as Dr. Sanati said, also in public level, to people understand how is the situation, how they can behave professional, and also about the cultural transformation, also about human resource planning and a strategy for human planning. And that was whole topic. Now we are going to finish the time. That's why I would like to ask the attendees if you have any kind of questions or discussion. We have something like, I think, 10 minutes maximum, 7 minutes. And I would like to ask you, please write your questions on the chat room, and me and Dr. Sanati will answer you and discuss about the topic you have challenged your question. Thank you very much, everybody.
Hello? Can you hear me? Yes, this is Torino Veneri. I am the principal investigator of the Erasmus project. So I would like to thank you, Farshid Sanati, for this interesting webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you, Hamid. You are one of the partners of the project, so thank you. It was an interesting webinar that I think improved the knowledge about this new topic that we hope that will have a very large spread worldwide and would support the new technology with the new education of people. So thank you very much.
You're welcome. You.
Thank you, Torino. Thank you for your motivation. I think one of the attendees is writing a question in the chat room. Yeah. In this time, I would like to take these opportunities and say I'm thankful from our technical expert at FHM, Manfred, because without his support that was not possible to hold this speech on Adobe Connect, and he tried to support us all the time. Also, we had some online meeting with him during last week to coordinate everything. I'm very thankful from Manfred, our colleague.
Okay, Doctor, could you say that one of the attendees has asked about the relationship between energy management and IoT.
Yeah. I think that was about the slides you already explained about that slides you explained about 6 aspects of IoE in the different parts of energies. I'm going back to the slide, and I would like to ask Dr. Sanati to explain this slide for the question.
You can see you are looking for the relationship between Internet of Things and energy management. You know that every device in every part of the or every part of the chain of the energy production to energy consumption, every device is using the energy at the production or at the end of the consumption. So if you have these devices connected through internet to a centralized server or someplace that can control these devices, it would be possible to gain very strong data in order to use them in your analysis and making better decisions in your management. For example, consider that you know what devices are exactly out of the standard condition, as I mentioned before. When you see that more than 200,000 devices are using energy in a steel plant, you can imagine how much energy is consumed, and you are interested to know how many of this huge amount of devices are out of the standard condition and they are using more than standard, more than the defined amount. So in this way you can manage the device. Now consider that you have some autonomous situations or autonomous softwares that can give you some understanding of the condition of the devices at the beginning of the chain, I mean in the production plant, and at the end of the chain, that is consumption point. You should balance these two together when you want to produce the amount of energy that is necessary for the end point. So if you have the big data in your hand when you are balancing your line from the production to transmission to the consumption, you can easily consider all parameters and make better decisions when you want to balance this together, or for example estimate the load that you will have on your transmission lines to define the switching system or configure the switching configuration of your network or grid that you have for transmission. So most of the technical decisions that can affect the energy consumption or energy transmission, they can completely affect by the Internet of Things. So I believe that exactly Internet of Things can affect completely the energy management and make a new shape of management on the energy.
Also, I would like to add something more. According to this PowerPoint presentation, I'm going back to this slide. You can see now the energy economy has moved from the power economy to data and power economy. And as I said, according to the third wave of the Elvin Toffler book, he said before 1970, the businesses and also energy management could affect on information technology and improve that. But after that, after 1917, information technology and today IoT could affect on all businesses, also energy management, and move them from power economy to data and power economy.
The participant has asked another question about the investment that do we need to convert a traditional steel factory to an IoE. I want to mention to a report from Metal Bulletin that the investment that they need will be returned in three years. So it's not so much especially if you prepare a very cost-effective solution, because there are different solutions based on the requirements of the industry. We are working on this subject right now in a steel factory, Mubarak steel factory in Iran, in Isfahan province. And it is really an interesting project, because we see that with very small investment we can provide very, very useful data to the experts. So I guess our project, based on the estimation that we have, is a 2 years project, but I'm not sure that it will finish. We are at the pilot part of the project. At the end of the pilot, we can give you an exact time estimation. Three years in which country? It was a study done by Metal Bulletin. As I see, I think the data was from European and US factories. I don't have the name of the countries exactly, but the Metal Bulletin mentioned 2 European factories.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Islami, for your questions and discussion. And thank you, Dr. Sanati, for your interesting description. I think we are going to finish the time. If there is any other question, you can ask. Otherwise, we can finish the webinar. Do you have any question?
Okay.
No question? Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining to this webinar, the second webinar of the Erasmus Plus project, Internet of Energy Education Qualification. And we are going to arrange another webinar very soon in another topic related to IoE. And I would like to ask the attendees, if you have any other question, we are going to provide a bigger file, bigger PowerPoint presentation, and upload the video, also the PowerPoint presentation, and you can get more information about this topic. And I'm going to say also thank you very much, Dr. Sanati, to take time and help and support us for this webinar. I know you are so busy. You need to, because of so many projects, you need to travel to different countries. But I'm very thankful because of your support to have a very interesting topic and webinar today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Manfred.